Hello, this is Peter Garcia, your host of the Arise podcast. I want to thank you guys for joining us here. This is episode 3. This is actually my first solo episode, and honestly, this might be the most important episode that I've ever recorded. So it's a very important one here for me. Today, I want to share the reason why I started the Arise podcast because this wasn't created just to have content or follow a trend. This all started from a lot of adversity, a lot of pain, a lot of experience, growth, setback, lessons, and rising over those obstacles. Um, Before we begin, I do want to thank everyone who supported the first 2 episodes, the messages, the shares, the feedback. It meant a lot. And if you'd like to support the mission of the podcast, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/the Arise podcast. But even if just subscribing, sharing the pod just with one person, liking, commenting, that all helps. So any type of support that you'd like to give, it's highly appreciated, and it helps us here continue making high quality content. So first, kind of want to go into what podcasts mean to me. Um, Me personally, I've always loved podcasts. They've always been a great self help tool for me. I really enjoy learning. I love listening to conversations. And honestly, there were so many moments where a podcast taught me something valuable that I was able to apply to my life. And I would say even literally saved my mindset for that day. There's some podcasts that I've listened to where, I'm kind of having a negative day, and he'll hear an inspiring story or a mindset shift, and that will just help me. So podcasts have always been great. Primarily, I listen to the podcast in the car, on long drives, even at the gym. I'd listen to people like Mel Robbins, Jay Shetty, Lewis Howes, Andrew Huberman, Gary Vaynerchuk. Um, and I realized something, with this is that, we feed our body every day, but with podcasts, they help feed our mind. For me, this became self education, value, learning real tools that I'm able to actually take into my day. So I always thought, hey, one day I want to create something that helps people the way those shows helped me. And it was something that was always, I would say, in my heart. I didn't know when I was going to start it. I didn't know what it was going to be called. But that takes me next to why I call it the Arise podcast and what happened in my life to where I decided it was the right time. So this goes to my mental health story, the reason that everything started. Um, Now, I'm going to be honest. The reason this podcast exists is because there were seasons of my life where I completely broke down mentally. It wasn't just a bad week. There were years where I hit rock bottom mentally. I know those years by memory. I mean, 2015, 2018, 2020, 2023. Um, Major dips, major crashes, times where I felt like I lost myself. For me, I struggled with anxiety for most of my life. I've always been a natural worrier. But at one point, or a couple times in my life, my anxiety got so bad where it turned into OCD. Um, OCD stands for obsessive compulsive disorder, and which it's usually has to do with obsessions and compulsions. Obsessions are intrusive thoughts, um, or just any type of trigger that really causes a lot of anxiety. And then the C part of OCD is for compulsions. That means those are things that you try to do to alleviate the anxiety. So for me, I had a very specific trigger, a very specific trauma, very specific thought. When I would think about this, I would get anxiety. If I would see it, I would get anxiety. It was a very traumatic trigger for me. And intrusive thoughts, they really got in my way, and for me, my biggest compulsion was um, trying to push them away, thought suppression, which there have been multiple studies by psychologists. There was a psychologist in Harvard. His name was Daniel Wegner, who did a study called the white polar bear study, where he asked students to not think of a white polar bear. And what he realized is that he came to the conclusion of the ironic process theory, which the more you try not to think about something, the more you think about it, right? So I was caught in this overthinking loop, trying to force myself to not think about this traumatic thing. And that just, you know, put me down and just really took a toll on my mental health. Um, During one of the worst periods, I lost my real estate license because I was in such a bad mental place. This was 2020. Um, I lost the license because I didn't renew it. I just had so much going on. That was around COVID time too, so I had this global disease now on top of all of this to worry about. And if that wasn't bad enough, my 6 year relationship with the person that I thought I was going to marry ended as well. So as you can see, my life was collapsing in front of me all at once. And there's a time in my life where I lost a lot of confidence in myself. My identity felt like it shattered, and I just felt stuck, and then all while all this is going on, also dealing with mental health issues as well. So it wasn't easy. And, with the anxiety, with the intrusive thoughts, it kind of seemed like the harder I tried to force myself to feel better or to force the thoughts away, the stronger they came back. And that's the trap when it comes to OCD and anxiety. But luckily, I'm here today because I rose over all that. I was able to arise over it. And that's why this is called Arise, because I arose over that and I was able to become a better Peter because of it as well. And, how did I come out on the other side? Well, first thing was therapy. Therapy saved my life. That's why I'm such a big proponent of therapy. Um, I think also it can be life changing. We all have different things, but maybe you may not have a OCD, or maybe it's a relationship trauma. Maybe it's a parent trauma that you have. Whatever it is, I think definitely therapy can benefit you, and that's why I'm always gonna have mental health at the forefront of this podcast. With me specifically, there was a type of therapy that really helped with my intrusive thoughts and with my trauma. It was called ERP, which stands for Exposure Response Prevention Therapy. And with this therapy, you basically confront your fears. Um, so whether it's an intrusive thought, whether it's something out and about that causes you anxiety, maybe it's social settings, everyone's different, but this type of therapy, instead of running from your fears, from the thoughts that scare you, um, from the triggers, from the trauma, instead of trying to erase or suppress it, this type of therapy teaches you how to sit with them. And that's how I learned. I learned that thoughts don't have power unless you give them power. At this time, I also started meditating as well. And meditation taught me how to observe my thoughts and not react to them. And I also learned vulnerability. I was suffering in silence about regarding so many things. And it seemed like this huge deal. Like, oh, I just have like this storm of things going on. But once I started talking about one thing at a time, and I learned the power of vulnerability and the how amazing it is to ask for help and how that's a sign of strength, not weakness, that's when my life started to change. And don't get me wrong, healing is not linear. You're not going to heal overnight, but if you confront the things that are affecting you, it is possible. And when I finally got to that other side, I felt called to help others to get to that side too. Um, when you get to the other side, you realize that, wow, I doubted myself so much. I didn't know I was this resilient. I didn't know that I could be here. And you kind of underestimate yourself. You underestimate yourself, and you also realize how much you gave your fears so much power that they didn't deserve. And that's what happens when you start confronting your fears. You start being more confident in yourself because you're showing another side of you that you didn't think was there. And that's why I love the quote that says, everything you want is on the other side of fear, and we can't let fear get in our way. And just the relief that I felt from this, I just knew I had to help other people. And that's where this Arise mission started. Um, and honestly, people are struggling quietly out there. I'm in a better place now, but I know there's still people out there that are struggling quietly. I know there's people drowning in silence. I know there's people dealing with trauma, trust issues, issues from their childhood, anxiety, shame, losses, addictions, heartbreak, identity struggles. And the thing is that they think they have to fight it all alone. And that's not true. There's a lot of resources, there's a lot of things. And the Arise podcast, I want it to be just a small seed to help other people out there. The Arise podcast is here to be that thing that I needed years ago. A sign of hope, a place where you can learn tools, a place where you can gain perspective, a place that is vulnerable and honest, and a place that you can learn from real conversations with real people with real meaning. And with this podcast, like I said, everyone's struggles are different. All I know is that I want to get people to the other side. I want people to arise, whatever is getting in their way of living their best life, the same way I did for myself. And it's not just about mental health. Mental health is very important, but I want to talk about physical health. I want to talk about finances. I want to talk entrepreneurship. I want to talk purpose, relationships, mindset, faith, growth, because your life and my life is not just one category. I truly believe that everything is connected, especially mental, physical, and spiritual health. And when you confront your life, you start to live your best life. And you only get one life. So why not be the best version of yourself? You can't change overnight, but overall, and things come and go, health comes and goes, relationships come and go, money comes and go. But overall, you can always become a better person by 1% every single day. Not in every category, but just overall, your character, your soul. You can become a better version of yourself. And when you put your head down at night, that you know that you're on that path. And that's the mission with the Arise podcast. It's not just a show. It's not just a podcast. It's a movement. It's a movement that helps people rise over fear, rise over trauma, rise over setbacks, rise over the things that try to break you, and ultimately become who you were meant to be, who God put you on this planet to be. The Arise podcast has two missions: help you arise over anything getting in the way of you living your best life, and also helping you arise into the best version of yourself. So I just want to thank you guys for all the support. I wanted to share a little bit about what this podcast is about. And like I said, this is just the beginning. I appreciate all the support. Share this with someone who needs hope today. I ask you guys also to always stay connected. Subscribe to the Arise podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. And if you'd like to support production and new episodes, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/the Arise podcast. And I have so many amazing things planned for this. But once again, I just wanted to give you guys an understanding of why I started the Arise podcast and why it means so much to me and kind of the motivation behind everything. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. God bless you and arise.